Been there, done that, bow-legged. Folks, I get asked a lot of questions, and I thought it would be a good idea to start a recurring series where I answer them. But I didn't just want to be sat down for 15 minutes talking about myself, because although that is one of my favourite hobbies, it's not particularly useful. So I've picked questions which, in answering them, will be helpful to other people who want to make content. Now, this is my book girl summer, so most of the questions will be about the process of writing and publishing a book. If you haven't yet got your hands on one, or want to have a gift for someone else, they're available in local bookshops and online, and are perfect for anyone who loves local history, folklore, customs and traditions. Now, I've done a lot of press interviews in my time. Oh, it's a hard life, you know. Endless interviews. Be careful what you wish for, because you might just get it. And I tend to get asked the same questions. What was your childhood like? Why did you write the book? And I've answered them so many times that I can give stock answers off by heart. And I've covered the backstory pretty well in my previous videos on the topic, so be sure to watch them. Anyway, I've gone for questions which are a little bit different, a little bit more interesting. The first one is, did you consider self-publishing? Now, self-publishing has boomed in recent years, but when I was writing the book, I was pretty determined to get it done professionally and properly. This isn't snobbery against self-publishing. I'll explain why I think it has value. But I knew that I wanted to get it done by a professional publishing house. This is for a few reasons. One is the prestige element. Getting a book published is a big thing. A publisher has seen significant value in both you and your work to take a financial risk on you. That is massive, and it's a life milestone, really. With self-publishing, you don't get that because you're doing it entirely yourself. There's also bigger distribution. Basically, more people buy your book. But I can see the value and place in self-publishing. I think it's best for niche, specialised topics. Publishing is, after all, a business venture. People are risking a lot of money in the hope that they'll get more money back. So they want to publish books which have a broad appeal to potential buyers. Books which are about more specialised topics are obviously going to appeal to fewer people, so they'll sell fewer copies. They'll make less money. This is why a lot of publishers don't want to publish very niche books, but self-publishing is your friend here. So if you're doing something on local history or just particularly niche history, self-publishing is a way of getting that work produced, getting it out there for people, even if it's going to have a limited audience. Don't take this as serious financial advice here. I'm not qualified for that. Make up your own mind. You're all individuals. How did you come up with the idea? Did you enjoy that? I did. Now subscribe or the cameraman gets it at the end of the baseball video. This is a really interesting one because it goes into personal branding. So YouTubers always say stuff like, if you enjoyed this video, like it, subscribe. But the trouble is, when I was trying this out, nothing I said felt natural to me. It felt like I was saying what other people were saying. It felt like I was putting something on. It's like when people say, smash that like button, subscribe, like that's not me. Okay, I would never say that. So we were having a think and we were thinking, how can we get people to subscribe but say it in a way which feels natural and on brand? Because here's the thing, every single person has a unique individual voice. It's called an idiolect. We all speak differently to each other. No one speaks exactly the same way in terms of their accent or the words they use or just the way they talk. Everyone is different. So use this to your advantage. It means everyone has a unique individual voice. And once you find that voice, it becomes incredibly iconic for you and your brand. So basically, we were thinking, well, what would the character in this video, how would they say it? They'd probably say, subscribe or I'll smash your face in with a baseball bat. I'm like, well, that's perfect. It's funny, it's original, it's on brand. It feels like something I'd say. So that's a story. The principle here is whatever you're doing, whether it's making a video or writing or whatever, find that individual voice, because if everyone's trying to sound the same, well, they're not going to stand out, are they? which of the traditions from the book do you have the most personal connection with? So one of the most frequently asked questions I get is, what's your favourite entry in the book? And this is a little bit similar to that, but it's got a twist on it. And I have to be honest, I'm racking my brains here. I can't think of a tradition or a custom which really resonates with me. When I was writing it, I was fairly objective. It was just about getting facts on the page. And so whilst I'd read something which was, quite interesting, quite, unique, funny, that kind of thing, it didn't really have a deep emotional resonance with me. However, the one thing that does, and by the way, I say this all the time when people ask me what my favourite entry is, because it is. I'll get the book out. Okay, here we go. I'm going to read it out for you. It was a common belief across the British Isles that fairies could swap human babies for children of their own, known as changelings. Reverend Thomas Parkinson, writing in 1889, recorded that near Grassington there is a hole in the rock, or cave, still known as the Fairy Hole, and for many years there resided in the town a poor deformed woman who was regarded by many of her neighbours as having been in her infancy a fairy changeling, and it is to be feared she was frequently treated accordingly. Those born with disabilities were often seen as changelings, and this passage gives us a rather sobering insight into how disabled people were treated in the past. So, the reason why this is my favourite is so often we have a really twee approach to folklore. We view it either as fairy tales we tell to children at bedtime or just some quaint belief from 300 years ago, but this really hit home for me because this illustrates that folklore is the frame through which people view and interact with the world around them. This belief in changelings was not just a silly little fairy tale, it was something which actually impacted people's lives. This woman, we are told, had some sort of disability. She was in some way different, and she was punished for it because of this folk belief. This is how we learn about the people in the past, how they lived, what they believed, how they just understood everything that went on around them. So this really resonates with me because it's just a little insight into a massively important topic, really. And finally, I imagine it's rather soon to be asking, but is a second book on the cards at some point in the future? I really enjoyed the process of writing this book. It was challenging, yes, but I love writing. When people at uni or school say that they hate writing essays, I just can't relate because I loved it, right? I just loved writing. And so I can see myself in the future writing another, if not more, multiple books. But right now, I've really fallen in love with filmmaking, with the visual medium, and that's what I'm focusing most of my time doing. The process of publishing as well is very long. It took 2.5 years for this book to come into existence, from the first birth of the idea to actually holding it in my hands, and that is a long time. That's a long time of personal development. I'm a completely different person now from when I was writing it when I was 22, 2.5 years ago. That's a lot of growth in the lifespan of a young person like me. And I'm very impatient. I have to have everything immediately right now. And the time length it takes to publish something is something that was quite difficult for me, especially because a lot of it is out of your control. When I'm making a video, generally, we control everything when it's made, how it looks, what's in it, and having to sacrifice that and just wait and wait and wait for it to come into existence is very difficult for someone like me. But I accept that, that's just part of the process. Right now, I'm not really thinking about writing another book, but I'm not going to rule it out because I kind of love doing it. That's everything for this Q&A video. If you have any questions, not just about the book, anything you've seen in a video or anything you'd like to pick my brain about, comment them below and I'll answer them in the upcoming Q&A videos. Now, I have lots of really exciting projects coming up over the next couple of months. I have been working tremendously hard on delivering really original, entertaining, unique videos. So stay tuned because I promise you they are absolutely worth it. And this t-shirt is a teaser.